Hey everybody, Ryan here at Etrailer. Today on our 2018 Ram ProMaster City, we're going to be showing you how to install the Etrailer.com Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver. But before we do that, why don't we check it out and make sure that this is the right hitch for you. When it comes to the ProMaster City, generally speaking, a lot of people are using these for work, right? Specifically, a lot of people out there in the service industry. So having a hitch on a vehicle like this just makes sense. It's going to allow you to do a lot of different things, whether you need to pull a smaller trailer around, or maybe even if you have some extra equipment or gear and want to use a cargo carrier, having a hitch back here is going to allow you to get those things done. With this being a Class 3 hitch, it is going to have that 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening. Very common size, a lot of different stuff will work with it. We have had a few people inquire about using smaller accessories like the 1.25" by 1.25" ones. If you happen to have that already and you'd want to use it, you can always get an adapter or a reducer that'll allow you to do that. So just wanted to mention that. But at the end of the receiver tube, we are going to have a reinforced collar for a little bit of extra support. And it is going to use that standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, pin and clip doesn't come with the hitch. If you need one, not really a big deal. You can always grab it right here at Etrailer. And the safety chain openings are going to be a loop style and give us plenty of space to use just about any size hook that our trailer might have. As far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have a 350-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating. And that's going to be the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. So decent number. And just to kind of give you an example, you'll be able to use a lot of different types of cargo carriers and things like that. As far as the hitch's maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 3,500 pounds. And that's going to be the amount of weight pulling on the hitch. So weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. I do always like to suggest, so it's never a bad idea just to grab your Ram's owner's manual. That way you can make sure your ProMaster City can pull that much weight safely. And with that said, if you are going to be pulling a trailer around, you're going to want the lights to work on it. That way everyone around you knows what's going on. And to accomplish that, you can always look into some trailer wiring. Now I'm going to give you a couple of measurements, and you can use these to help figure out which hitch mounted accessories to get. From the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be about 12 inches. So chances are pretty good if you are going to be pulling a trailer around, you're going to need to get a ball mount that has a rise in its shank. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, that's going to be about 3 inches. And you can use that measurement to help figure out that if any folding type accessories you might have can be stored in that upright position without hitting the back of your Ram. Just to kind of compare this hitch to some of the other ones available, it's kind of tough to say which one I would go with, with 100% certainty. And I say it because they're all pretty close. They're all very similar in terms of how they're going to look, where they're going to sit, how they go on, the weight capacities and everything. Honestly, to me, I am a little partial to the Etrailer one, really just because of I think it looks a little bit better in terms of the finish and kind of blends in, looks a little more factory, but that's just my opinion. So other than that though, hitch you really can't go wrong with. It's going to get the job done. And in terms of getting the hitch installed, really not too bad. You do have to remove your back plastic bumper here, but everything's pretty easy to get to and get it off. Once it is off, everything's wide open. You should be able to bolt it up with no issues really. So speaking of installation, why don't we go ahead and put the hitch on together now. To begin our installation, we're going to be here at the back of our ProMaster City, and since the rear plastic bumper needs to come off, we're going to start with these 3 fasteners here along the bottom edge. So go ahead and pull those out using a T30 Torx bit. Now if we move to our wheel well liner, along this edge we're going to have 4 Phillips head screws. We'll pull those out. I want to mention from this point on, anything we do to one side of our vehicle, we're also going to do to the other side because it'll be set up the same way. Once we have these out, There's also going to be another Phillips head screw just along this bottom edge here. So along this bottom edge here, this is that last screw I mentioned. It's also going to have a Phillips head on it. So what you can do now, come back to your wheel well, and since we have it loose, you can take the panel and just kind of push it out of the way. And this might be kind of tricky to see, but in the corner here where our bumper fascia meets the quarter panel, there's going to be a fastener that's running up. So the head of it's going to be on the bottom side. And we're going to remove that as well, again using a T30 Torx bit. So now at this point, what we can do is get our tail lights removed, and we'll open up our doors. That way we can get access to the fasteners holding them in. To get the lights out, we're going to have 3 large Phillips head screw type fasteners along this inside edge. So if you open up your door about halfway, get access to them, we'll go ahead and just get them removed. So once some fasteners are loose, a lot of times you can start to kind of work this light out and pull it towards you. If it wants to get hung up a little bit, which is normal, looks like I'm getting it released actually though. If it does want to get hung up, you can always use a plastic trim tool like this. Just kind of pry in there to help pop it free. Once we have it free though, we're going to need to disconnect it. So there's a connector plug there, and in the center you can push down on it, pop it out, set our light off to the side, do the same thing to get the other one out. Once the tail light's out, that's going to expose a T30 Torx Bit fastener right there on each side of the vehicle, so we'll go ahead and get that pulled out. Now what we can do along our bumper here, kind of underneath our weather stripping, we're going to have a total of 4 T30 Torx Bit fasteners. Go ahead and just work our way down and get all of them pulled out. Now with the next set of hands, we can actually get our fascia off. So I put some painter's tape here along the seams just so it didn't get scratched up or anything. But you're going to start in the corner, kind of work your way back. And if these are getting stuck, what you can do is take a small flathead or something and kind of pry in there and push down on the connectors, those tabs. That'll help this get released. But we should be able to just kind of work our way around. I'm going to slide it down, and it looks like over here on the passenger side, we're going to have electrical connector. Can push down on it. If it comes off the body, not really a big deal. But we're going to push on this tab here. Looks like they're on both sides actually. And release it. We can set our fascia off to the side somewhere out of the way. Now we can get our bumper beam removed. So on each end of it, we're going to have 3 15mm head bolts that we need to pull out. So grab my socket here. And I already have the other side bolts off. To get this one out, we should be able to remove our beam and set it to the side for now. So the way this is going to work, if you take your hitch and lay it flat, the holes in the hitch are going to line up with the holes in our bumper beam. So essentially this is just going to set on top of it there. And then we'll lift this whole assembly up as a unit. And you're just going to use that stock hardware that we removed that was originally holding our bumper beam on. That's what we're going to use to run through the beam, through the hitch, and into the back of our vehicle to keep it secure. So we'll grab our hitch, raise it into position, bumper beam, get that lined up. Like we talked about, we'll grab our factory hardware, Get at least one started on each side, hand tight. That way everything will support itself while we work on the rest of the bolts. So once we have all the hardware in place and hand tight, we'll come back and snug it down. So with all the hardware snug, now we need to make sure to come back with a torque wrench and properly tighten it down to the amount specified in the instructions. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can always grab one here at Etrailer, or a lot of times go to your local auto parts store and they'll have one there available that you can rent. Now with the next set of hands, we can get our fascia back into position. Don't forget to plug in any of your electrical connectors there. And then we can work this up into position and reinstall it the opposite way that we removed it. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver on our 2018 Ram ProMaster City.